Good morning, dear students. A warm welcome to all of you for our today's digital session for the subject Science and Technology Section B. In our yesterday's session, we have completed with the topic of excretion in plants and human beings for chapter number 15, that is life processes in living organisms. We have also completed the topic of transportation. Today we will just revise what we have studied about excretion. We will go through, as I have told you, that whatever life process is taken in the previous session, that will be revised in the next session, and then we are going to proceed with the new life process, that is coordination. And today we are going to see coordination in plants. We are going to study about coordination in plants and human beings. So how it is brought about in plants, that we are going to see today. So first, let us revise about excretion. Excretion means nothing but the removal of waste or harmful substances from the body. You all, along with plants, animals, consume food materials daily. Also, water is taken up as per the requirement. So, many harmful and waste substances like urea, uric acid, ammonia, etc. they are produced, manufactured in all the living organisms. And if these substances accumulate in the body or are retained in the body for a long amount of time, it can lead to serious harm or even death. And hence it becomes necessary for the body to remove such harmful and waste materials outside the body, to throw it outside the body. And different organisms, they have different methods of doing this, and this entire process is called as excretion. In short, if you have to correlate this term with your day-to-day activities, the garbage which is accumulated in your house has to be thrown out of the house to avoid stinking and different types of diseases. That garbage has to be thrown outside the building, and then the municipal corporation heads and all, they take this garbage away and further dispose it off. So that simple process of throwing the garbage outside your house every day on a regular basis is called as excretion, and similarly is the excretion in all the living organisms. Removal of the waste or harmful substances from the body at regular intervals of time, that is excretion. And as I have told you, different organisms, they use different modes. In unicellular organisms, unicellular means the organisms which have a single cell, waste materials, they are directly eliminated across the cell surface because there is only a single cell to carry out all their processes, whereas process of excretion in multicellular organisms is complex. Complex means difficult. Now we move towards our next topic, that is excretion in plants. As I have told you that we are going to study about excretion in plants and human beings in details in this chapter. Now you might be wondering, excretion in plants. Yes, plants are also living organisms like us, and they also need to excrete, put out the wastes out of their body. Now, how does this technique take place in plants? Are there any definite organs which help in this process? If you see, excretion is a very simpler process in plants as compared to human beings and animals. There is no special organ or system for the excretion in plants. Later on, when you study about excretion in human beings, you will come to know that special organs are allotted: kidneys, urinary bladder, urethra. But here if you see excretion in plants, there is no special organ or system. Then how does this excretion take place? Here there are different modes, different ways by which plants excrete out their waste. First is gaseous substances are given out by the process of diffusion. Most of the waste substances of the plants are stored in the vacuoles of leaf cells and in flowers fruits and the bark of the stem, and after some time you know that these parts of the tree, plants, they fall off. Then some other waste materials, you can see that they are stored in the old and worn out xylem in the form of resin and gum. You have heard these words. Some waste materials, they are given out through the roots into the surrounding soil. So you can see there are different ways. There is not a single way which is applicable for all the plants. Gaseous products, they are given out by diffusion. Some of the waste products, they are stored in the old xylem. Some of them are stored in the vacuoles of leaf cells, flowers, fruits, which fall off eventually. So in this way the plants excrete out the waste. Next, if you see here, gums, resins, I have put some of the photographs. So some waste materials of the plants, they are useful to human beings, and that is why I have put these photos over here. Some waste like gum, resins, etc., which may be the excretory products for plants, but they are useful for human beings. In some plants, waste materials are present in the form of crystals of calcium oxalate, and they are called as raphides, which are needle shaped, prickle and cause irritation of the skin. You might have heard or observed your mother while she cuts the elephant foot or the arum leaves. Elephant foot is suran. So your hands may also begin to itch if you try to cut those leaves. You can say aruchi pana, that is known as arum leaf. So when you try to cut this, sometimes you get a itching sensation, because when you cut open this part, this waste materials which are present in the form of crystals, they prickle and then they irritate your skin. This is about the excretion in plants. Now we move towards the next topic, that is how excretion takes place in human beings. Are there different organs? Yes. When you speak about excretion in human beings, there are different organ systems in the human body to bring about the different life processes, such as the digestive system, which is responsible for digestion, respiratory system, which is responsible for respiration. Similarly, for the removal of waste materials out of the body, the very important system which carries out this function is the excretory system. Here you can see picture of the excretory system being placed on the slide. Now what does this human excretory system consists of? It consists of a pair of kidneys, a pair of ureters, then the urinary bladder and the urethra, which helps in putting out your urine. Now this urine, which is the waste product for human beings, it is formed by these kidneys by separating the waste and unwanted excess substances from the blood. Now let us see how this process of excretion actually takes place in human beings and which are the different parts involved in it. You can see here in this picture, this is the picture of the excretory system. There are two bean-shaped kidneys which are situated on either side of the vertebral column on the posterior side of the abdomen. That is the position of the kidneys. The main functional unit of the kidney that performs the basic function of filtration, it is called a nephron. Next slide, just I will show you the picture of nephron. This is the picture of a nephron. So this is the main, you can say, functional unit of the kidney. As you know, in the school, the main functional unit is the principal of the school. So similarly here, the functional unit of the kidney is the nephron. Now we will see about the structure of nephron. In this slide, you can see the photograph of a nephron. Now, each nephron, it has a cup-like thin-walled upper part which is called the Bowman's capsule. You can see here a cup-like structure. Now, the network of capillaries in the Bowman's capsule, Here inside this Bowman's capsule you can see a network of capillaries which is known as glomerulus. So we have studied up till here that the excretory system consists of a pair of kidneys, a pair of ureters, urinary bladder and urethra. Nephron is the functional unit of the kidney, and each nephron has a cup-like structure which is called the Bowman's capsule, which contains a network of capillaries known as glomerulus. Now the urea which is produced in the liver, it comes into the blood. When this urea containing blood, it comes into this glomerulus, what happens? It gets filtered through its capillaries and urea and other similar substances are separated from it. You can see the first step of separation of the unwanted substances. So when this urea containing blood, it comes into this glomerulus, due to its network of capillaries, it gets filtered and urea and similar substances are separated from it. What about the water molecules and small molecules of some other substances? They can cross the semi-permeable membrane of this Bowman's capsule. The solution, it gets accumulated in the cavity of the Bowman's capsule, then passes into the tubular part of the nephron. Here, what happens? The molecules of water and some other useful substances, they are reabsorbed back into the blood. Which is the waste product which is formed over here? Now the waste product which is formed is urine from the remaining solution which is full of waste materials. The urine is carried by the ureters and stored in the urinary bladder. Now let us again go to the previous slide. The urine. Now all this process has taken place in the kidney. Then the urine is carried by the ureter and stored in this urinary bladder. Afterwards, urine is given out of the body, thrown out of the body through the urethra. The urinary bladder, it is muscular. It is made up of muscles and it is under the control of the nerves. Hence, we are able to keep a control on urination. Sometimes you see that the bladder is very full and you get the urge to urinate. You feel that you have to urinate very quickly. So it depends upon the amount of urine which is accumulated in the bladder. When the bladder becomes very full and you don't urinate, indirectly you are putting a pressure on the kidneys. Somewhere you are damaging the excretory system. And though the kidneys are the main organs of excretion in human beings, the skin and the lungs, they also help in the process of excretion. You know that sweat is given out through the skin. The lungs throw away the carbon dioxide. So these are also the excretory products. So along with the kidneys are the main, but along with kidneys, lungs and skin of the human beings also play an important role in excretion. The right kidney, if you see, is in a slightly lower position than the left kidney. There are two kidneys. So right kidney is slightly lower position than the left, and each kidney has approximately 10 lakhs of nephrons. It is not only a single nephron which is performing the function, but there are about 10 lakhs of nephrons. Approximately 5 liters of blood which is present in a normal healthy person's body is filtered by the kidneys about 400 times every day, and thus if you see the ratio, every day the kidneys filter about 190 liters of blood, from which about only 1 to 1.9 liters of the urine is formed and the remaining liquid is reabsorbed. This is the function, or you can say how excretion takes place in human beings. Function of the kidneys. How kidneys, they play a very important role in excretion. Now, as I have told you yesterday, if the kidneys, they fail to function due to any reason, the reason may be that the efficiency of the kidneys can be adversely affected by injury, infection, or due to decreased blood supply, then what happens in such a case? the excess of toxic substances, they start accumulating in your body, which can lead to death. As I have told you, kidneys are the major organs that play a vital role in the process of excretion, means they are the ones which help us to remove the harmful substances out of the body. But if due to some reasons this kidneys only fail to perform, then somewhere you have to throw the wastes outside the body, and this is done artificially. If kidneys fail, nitrogenous wastes, they are separated from the blood with the help of a man-made machine. Here you can see the photograph, the image of a dialysis machine which is made by man. What is the work of this machine, this technology? The process of separating the nitrogenous waste from the blood with the help of this machine is called dialysis. You all are well introduced with this word. This word is familiar to you, dialysis. You might have heard many people, they undergo dialysis, especially those who face from diabetes. In case of a diabetic patient, the chances of kidney failure are more, and then the kidneys, if they fail, the person has to undergo dialysis. So according to the requirement, the person has to give a visit to the hospital where the harmful waste from his blood are separated with the help of this machine. About 500 ml of blood is sent at one time through this machine. You can see here about 500 ml, that is half a liter of blood, is sent at one time through this machine, and then after separating the nitrogenous waste, the purified blood is reinfused into the body of the patient. This is a harmless technique, but somewhere naturally you are not throwing the waste products outside the body. So you can say that prevention is better than cure. You have to take care of each and every organ of your body. If you want to take care of your kidneys, then you should drink water at proper intervals of time, and especially the drinking procedure of water should be, you should be in the sitting position while drinking the water, so your kidneys are not affected to that extent. Now, our next life process which we are going to study in details, it is a quite lengthy process, coordination. What you can see here in this picture, you can see an image of a cricket match wherein the umpire is standing at this position. This is the bowler who is bowling his ball. Both the batsmen are on the pitch for the batting purpose. There are different fielders around. So looking at this picture, you come to know that the activities are well coordinated. The position of the fielders is decided by the captain. The placement of the umpire, the series according to which the batsman is going to come for batting, everything is well planned, everything is well coordinated. Similarly, in the body of living organisms, whether it may be human beings, whether it may be animals, several different organs, systems, they function especially in the multicellular organisms where there are more number of cells. Their life goes on smoothly if there is coordination between the different organ systems or the organs and the stimuli in the surrounding. So, how you can define coordination? Systematic regulation of different processes can be called control, and bringing about the different processes in the proper sequence can be called as coordination. Everywhere coordination is required, whether it is with the functioning of the different organs or systems of the body, at the school level, in the games, everywhere. In the school level, if any activity is decided, you take an example of dance activity, then coordination should be there. the different house masters, they take the names of the students, then the dances are selected by the students, they bring their songs, and then they contact their teacher. The teacher goes through the song, then finalizes it, then the activity date is decided, semi-finals are taken, number of students in every dance is you can say decided, and till that activity gets over, everywhere at every stage you will see proper coordination. On that day of your dance activity also, comparing is done by the teacher, the sequence of the dances are decided, the judges are appointed, the results are given out, and then the results are sent ahead for the annual function. So what you can see right from the beginning, coordination. And this is very important for the proper functioning of human body. If any activity in the body is to be completed successfully, then proper coordination between different systems and organs participating at different steps of that activity is necessary. If due to lack of coordination or some other factor there is confusion at any step, the activity may not get completed in a proper manner. Means what? That if any activity has to be performed in a proper way, then the different steps should be properly coordinated. There should not be randomness at any step. Now there needs to be proper coordination between the internal activities of the body resulting from various factors like your body temperatures, water level, enzyme level, etc., or the stimuli arising in the surrounding environment. And for your body to coordinate properly, then your participation is also necessary. Now you can ask me, participation in which way? Having a good sleep at right intervals of time, then having meals, healthy foods, then drinking ample amounts of water. So all your small roles also, they help your body to coordinate and function properly. Proper coordination between various systems of an organism helps to maintain a state of equilibrium, which is called homeostasis, and which is necessary for the optimal efficiency of the body. Our next topic is how coordination is brought about in plants. You might be wondering, coordination in plants? Yes, in the previous topic we have seen how plants excrete, how excretion is brought about in plants. They are also living organisms, so this life process is also seen in plants. However, plants, they do not have systems like the nervous system or the muscular system of animals. Then how you think movements will be brought about in these plants? In plants, movements are mainly in the form of responses which are given to the stimuli. Movement or growth of any part of the plant in response to an external stimulus is called tropism or tropic movement. The different movements which are experienced by plants are: first is phototropic movement. If you keep a potted plant near a window in the dark, you will see that the plantlet will slowly and gradually start growing towards the source of light. You have seen plantlet bent towards the sun. So this shoot system of the plant, it responds to the light stimulus, it grows towards the source of light, and this movement which is shown by plants is called phototropic movement. The next movement is shown by the root system of the plants. They respond to the stimulus like gravitation and water. So these responses, they are called as gravitropic, and when towards water they are called as hydrotropic movement. Similarly, the movement which is shown by the plants in response to specific chemicals, it is called as chemotropic movement. For example, the growth of pollen tube towards the ovule. Now, all these above mentioned movements of the plants, they are related with growth, and hence these movements, they are collectively called as growth relevant movements. Next we will see about the growth irrelevant movement. You have seen this plant, mimosa or touch me not plant. On careful observation, you see that in such plants like touch me not or mimosa, movement occurs at the places other than where it has been touched. Why it is called touch me not? Because once you touch any of the single leaf also from the plant, that entire leaflet you will see drooping down, closing itself. So if you are touching at this end also, the other end where you are not touched, that part also remains, you can say, closed. It gets closed. So what we can infer over here, what we can observe over here, that the information about the touch must have been relayed within the plant from one place to another. And plants use electrochemical impulses for the transfer of information from one place to another. You have studied in chapter number 12 how the vibrations which are received by the eardrum, they are converted into electrical signals by cochlea and then transferred to the brain for the analysis. Similarly, the part where you are touching, that information has reached the other places of the plants, and the plant cells, they change their shape by increasing or decreasing their water content and thereby bring about the movements of the plants. Different examples you can see: Venus flytrap, lotus, balsam. So in balsam, the ripened fruit, it bursts open at the right time to disperse the seeds. When you speak about the Venus flytrap, there is a trap that appears and smells like flowers and it deceives the insects. So when an insect, it visits that flower like trap, the trap closes up and the trapped insect is digested by the plant. For the lotus flower, it opens during the daytime. The tuberose, it opens at the night. So some specific movements of the plants, they do not lead to the plant's growth, and such movements are called as growth irrelevant movements. In the first part we have seen growth relevant movements, phototropic, chemotropic, but here such type of movements do not lead to the growth of the plant, and such movements are called as growth irrelevant movements. And as a response to changes in the surroundings, plant hormones, they bring about various movements in plants. So this is how coordination, a life process, is brought about in plants. In our tomorrow's session, we are going to study in details how coordination is brought about in human beings. And so I will request all of you to go through that topic. It is very, very interesting how the human beings coordination system is maintained by two systems, nervous system and your central nervous system, how it is categorized into three parts. So all this part is very, very interesting for you, and many of the terms, words, they are familiar. So nervous control, chemical control are the two types of control which bring about coordination in human beings, that we are going to see in our next session. Till then, I will request all of you to keep your notebooks completed. Keep the habit of reading at least 2 pages of each and every chapter every day, so that towards the end you will not feel the portion very lengthy. Thank you, dear children.